On World News Tonight this Friday, the president's trial in the Senate, the pressure to have witnesses increases, including Monica Lewinsky. A U.S. Olympic Committee official resigns. The International Olympic Committee promises to clean house. The mess that winter has made, a surprise to many in the East. And the century on Friday, the trial that captivated the nation. Science or religion?
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening. The Republican members of the House prosecuting the president argued today to the Senate that when senators examine all the testimony so far and if they are fair, surely they will have to judge the president guilty of obstructing justice and perjury. But just in case, the House prosecutors argued, the Senate should hear from the witnesses themselves. In fact, they should hear from Monica Lewinsky and maybe the president. Today, the Republican challenge was to keep the Senate focused on legalities. First, here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
Republicans got off the high road that they took yesterday, at least for a few moments. Congressman Bill McCollum delivered the most graphic language yet heard in the Senate when he said, even accepting Mr. Clinton's narrow definition of sex, the president still committed perjury by denying he had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky.
But they asked him about touching certain parts of the body that are defined in the definition that you've had repeated many times publicly and otherwise. And two of those body parts, he acknowledges, the breast and genitalia, were in fact part of the definition.
Still, McCollum insisted sex was irrelevant to the legal case.
This is not about sex. This is about obstruction of justice. This is about a pattern. This is about a scheme. This is about a lot of lies. This is about a lot of perjury.
And soon enough, Republican prosecutors began a lawyerly series of speeches trying to prove that Mr. Clinton's actions meet the legal definitions of obstruction and perjury.
The offenses are found in sections 1621 and 1623.
Congressman Steve Chabot claimed that Mr. Clinton's acts meet every standard needed to establish perjury, that he lied while under oath, that he intended to lie about a relevant matter before the grand jury.
It is not the conduct of someone who acted through ignorance, mistake, or accident. Rather, it is the conduct of someone who lied, knew he had lied.
Later,
Mr. Chief Justice, I object.
The first unscripted moment of these proceedings.
I think the framers of the Constitution meant us, the Senate, to be something other than a jury.
Harkin objected when one of the prosecutors called senators jurors. He said they are something quite different, triers of an impeachment. Chief Justice Rehnquist agreed. So hereafter, the word jurors will not be spoken. Peter?
Thank you, Jackie. Jackie Judd. You could not miss it anywhere on the Hill today, including among some of the triers. Everyone was talking about having witnesses and who they might be. In fact, there was so much talk that it seemed as if this was an issue being created for the moment. In fact, some Republicans have been pressing the witness issue for quite some time. And if Republicans who control the Senate want witnesses, they will have witnesses. ABC's Linda Douglas is also on the Hill.
Presentation, you will hear from Representative
After 10 hours of oral argument, House managers are confident they have made the case for calling witnesses. And sources say they have all but decided to ask the Senate to invite President Clinton to testify.
Let's examine Monica Lewinsky, Vernon Jordan, Betty Currie, and the other key witnesses. Let you examine the testimony. Invite the president to come. Judge for yourself their credibility.
Both Republicans and Democrats are not sure what effect it would have to pressure the president to testify. Republican leaders worry it could increase public sympathy for him. Some Democrats wonder if he would hurt himself if he refuses to appear.
I think he legally can afford not to come up, and my guess is he probably can politically afford to, but that's a judgment he has to make.
The managers have now...
House managers have narrowed their list of other witnesses to 5 who are most likely, each with pros and cons. Monica Lewinsky. She might help prove the president illegally covered up their affair, but she might defend him. Betty Currie. She might help prove that Mr. Clinton pressured her to lie, but she is loyal to the president. Vernon Jordan. He might highlight the contradictions between his testimony and the president's, but managers fear he might outfox them. White House aides Sidney Blumenthal and John Podesta. They could testify that Mr. Clinton lied to them, but both are loyal to the president. Some Democrats are complaining that the managers are being repetitive and that they've gone on too long. And Peter, even some of the managers are worrying that they might be boring the senators. But they say they want to be sure that they are making their point, that this case is about obeying the law.
Thanks, Linda. Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill tonight. As for the White House, there's not much enthusiasm there for having witnesses. But as it is in the Congress, they do know that the risks cut both ways. Sam Donaldson is with us tonight. Sam.
Peter, the president has never wanted witnesses called in this trial, and he still doesn't. But if witnesses are inevitable, his lawyers are prepared to request some witnesses of their own, while warning that this accumulation of witnesses is likely to stretch out the proceedings for weeks, if not months. Among the witnesses the president's team might call, Linda Tripp, to examine her motives in taping Monica Lewinsky, as well as some of the contradictions in what Lewinsky told her. Lucianne Goldberg, the New York literary agent who helped bring Tripp and the Paula Jones lawyers together in an effort to show a conspiracy from the beginning to get the president. And even Kenneth Starr himself for another round of examining his own tactics, including accusations of mistreatment of Lewinsky. The president might actually benefit from cross-examining witnesses, according to Presidential Press Secretary Joe Lockhart. But Lockhart said in the interest of getting the trial over with,
we're willing to move past what at times has been very unfair treatment and characterization, make our case before the Senate next week, let the Senate ask questions, and then see if we can't get this resolved.
in New York today, the president projected an upbeat mood as he answered a stream of laudatory introductions at Reverend Jesse Jackson's Wall Street Project.
At the end of the day, what is your box score at the end of the night? That's how God judges us.
Be gentle with yourself, Mr. President. Only God is perfect every day, all the time, in every way.
That's the sort of thing you normally hear, or you normally don't hear because it's said at your... that's the sort of thing people say for your funeral, and I don't think we're there yet.
The president is going a lot of places these days to show he's on the job. But we're told that the one place he has no intention of going, Peter, is the United States Senate to testify on his own behalf.
Thank you, Sam, very much. One other note on this today. The man who edits the influential journal of the American Medical Association was fired because he published an 8-year-old survey about college students' sexual attitudes timed to coincide with the president's impeachment trial. The survey found that 60% agreed with Mr. Clinton that oral sex is not really sex. The American Medical Association itself said publishing this piece at this time was inexcusable. In a moment, we'll go on to the other news. The Olympic scandal again. Why did a U.S. official resign? And how long have some of these cities been cheating?
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Aleve.
If you leave a job half done, you could be in big trouble, right?
Right.
That's the problem with ordinary pain relievers. They work for a while, then quit. Aleve works all day long with just 2 pills. And Aleve is safe. It's made with a form of naproxen doctors that prescribed and trusted for years. So if your pain reliever isn't getting the job done,
sink it.
And try Aleve. 2 pills, all-day relief. Works for me.
You have meditated for 3 months.
Yes, Master.
What have you learned?
Nobody in the world sells more real estate than Remax.
Remax helped us find this place, you know.
Cool.
Remax, the real estate leaders.
With all we have to do today, does it make sense to keep color on your hair for 30 minutes when you can get rid of the gray in 5? Just 5. Great color, body, and shine in 5 gentle minutes. Just 5. Smart hair color. Works for me.
It hurts so bad. That burning sensation. So I saw my doctor. He said where heartburn hurts most is where Mylanta works fast. All down through here where you want help fast. My doctor said Mylanta.
In Switzerland today, the International Olympic Committee said it intends to clean house. Whether that means it will deal with corruption in its ranks is not clear, but there will be an extraordinary meeting in March, and only then will the IOC decide whether to expel 13 members accused of breaking Olympic rules. As for the U.S. Olympic Committee, today we've learned more about Alfredo Lamont, the senior member of the USOC, who resigned last night. ABC's Tom Foreman is in Salt Lake City.
At his home in Colorado Springs, Lamont was not talking today.
I have no statements to the media at all.
But sources close to the investigation tell ABC News Lamont was a conduit between Salt Lake organizers and South American members of the International Olympic Committee. Lamont apparently gathered information about IOC members for Salt Lake and then funneled gifts to them to help Utah win the games. The stepdaughter of this IOC member from Ecuador got jobs with the Salt Lake organizers and with the state of Utah. Just 24 hours ago, officials of the U.S. Olympic Committee were denying any connection to the scandal.
Nobody at the USOC knew about scholarships, direct cash payments, health care benefits, or anything that you've seen alleged in the last 3 weeks.
At the USOC today,
the indications we have that this is an isolated instance.
But the USOC clearly suspected as long as 10 years ago that Salt Lake was cheating, back when the USOC was choosing which American city would bid for the Olympics.
We cautioned Salt Lake about the crossing the line on gift-giving practices.
Howard Peterson was on the USOC in 1989 when he says improper gifts to the USOC board included ski trips, expensive clothing, alcohol, and prompted this internal memo, which says the Salt Lake Winter Games Committee may have stepped over the line in the gift-giving area. Still, the USOC effectively did nothing to stop the practice. Now, other cities which lost out to Salt Lake, such as Anchorage and Reno, question the USOC's integrity.
We all felt that something was shady. They knew they were having problems with Salt Lake City, and they should have addressed them.
Despite all of this, the U.S. Olympic Committee is insisting there will be no new revelations of wrongdoing by its members. But of course, that is what they were saying yesterday. Tom Foreman, ABC News, Salt Lake City.
On the money tonight, Brazil's currency fell another 7% today against the dollar after Brazil said it would no longer use its reserve to support the real, 1.4 reals to a dollar tonight. Brazil had been urged to let the currency trade freely. Investors on Wall Street think this is good news. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 219 points to close at 93.40. The NASDAQ stocks were up 71 points. Here in Washington today, a federal appeals court has cleared the way for John Hinckley Jr. to make short day trips away from the mental hospital where he has been for 18 years. Mr. Hinckley is 43 now. He tried to kill President Reagan in 1981. The ruling allows his doctors to authorize visits with family and friends off hospital grounds, but always accompanied by hospital personnel. When we come back, the storm in the east, severe winter and ice everywhere.
On Super Bowl Sunday, you'll discover signs of intelligent life in auto insurance. Be progressive. Call 1-800-AUTO-PRO. And remember, buckle up.
What is Nicorette? Nicotine replacement gum. It helps you stop smoking cigarettes, but you don't chew it like regular gum. You bite Nicorette until it tingles, then you hold it between your cheek and your gum, and you get a lower level of nicotine to help you fight your cravings. And as your cravings get fewer and fewer, you use less and less and less Nicorette until you use none, and none is a wonderful number.
Nicorette gum helps you fight your cravings, your habit, your way. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
That weight on your shoulders looks pretty heavy, son.
It's taxes.
Go on.
Not just my taxes. I'm doing my sister's, my nephew's. Everyone's getting married, having kids. I don't even know if I'm doing them right.
Son, there have been over 800 tax law changes. Maybe they're expecting too much of you.
Yeah. Hey, I don't think I got your name.
H&R Block. We know. Do you?
That the party of the first part did not intend for the party of the second.
I should have used Preparation H.
If you had, you wouldn't be suffering now. Preparation H helps stop itch and further irritation with a soothing layer of protection.
I should have used Preparation H.
Stops itch, stops irritation.
I'm 64.
Is there anything I can do to stop bone loss?
Absolutely. Here's proof. In a landmark clinical study, Caltrate actually stopped bone loss in women at risk for osteoporosis, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Across much of the Mid-Atlantic region today and the Northeast, it was a winter weather nightmare. Rain and sleet created dangerous travel conditions and vast numbers of people lost power. The bad weather is blamed for at least 6 traffic-related deaths. Here's ABC's Bill Blakemore.
It was a gloomy, wet, slushy mess in coastal regions from the nation's capital up through Maine. Ice brought down lines, power outages everywhere, especially in Maryland, Washington, and West Virginia. Conditions shifting from yesterday's bitter cold and snow to mild temperatures and rain made for white-knuckle driving on many roads. It was hard to tell what was ice and what wasn't. Millions of new ponds, streams, even icy rivers gushed through cities and towns. Many who had dared to go to work with leather shoes spent the day with wet feet. Further inland, where it stayed cold, those who love snow were in luck. More than 50 inches of it in some areas since New Year's Day. But it has also been destructive, caving in the roofs of barns, churches, warehouses, greenhouses. This evening, temperatures in places that melted today were diving back below freezing. So, more ice, again.
In Maine yesterday, there was the temperature of minus 55, which is the coldest temperature we've ever had in Maine.
Meteorologists say you can blame all this on last year's El Nino only indirectly. Since it made last January unusually warm, people may now be suffering the shock of getting back to normal. It's called winter. Bill Blakemore, ABC News, New York.
One item overseas in the Serbian province of Kosovo today, 15 people died and 2 international monitors were among the wounded as heavy fighting broke out between the Serbian forces and Kosovo's independence-minded rebels. This is one of the most serious confrontations since a ceasefire in October. In Canada today, the Canadian government's health ministry, Health Canada, has concluded that based on available evidence, available studies, milk from hormone-treated cows poses no risk for cancer, nor does it pose any other significant risk to humans. The hormone is designed to make cows produce more milk. And while the Canadians have decided not to approve it because of unacceptable risk to cows, the FDA does consider it safe for use here. We reported a month ago the views of some Canadian scientists who had expressed doubts as to whether it had been adequately studied. Monsanto makes the drug and is clearly pleased with today's news.
We're very pleased with the conclusions drawn on human safety, where they reaffirmed the safety of the milk supply, and our conclusions on the animal safety is we believe that they have gotten this estimate wrong, and we want to continue to work with Health Canada to resolve those concerns.
When we come back, how millions of people hung on every word of the trial 75 years ago, the century on Friday.
Around here, we're pouring something new on our salad. Because the people at Kraft figured we might like a light dressing that actually tasted good. So they made Light Done Right. Finally, our favorite flavors with half the fat. They're new, and they taste a lot better than anything light has a right to. Light Done Right. I guess they just know what we like. Around here, the dressing is Kraft.
Out here and practically everywhere else, people are using 1010-9000 because it's the easy way to find a phone number.
I'll tell you why I use it, because now I don't have to remember area codes. There's too darn many and they keep a changing.
Well, that's one good reason. Any others?
Yep, I like the 1010-9000 operators. Sure beats talking to a machine.
No area codes to remember and nice people to help you. Life is definitely getting better.
You got that right.
For once. 1010-9000. Directory assistance for everyone in America.
For 97 years, GMC has designed trucks for people who drove them not because they were trendy, but because their lives depended on them. Heroes who measured a truck by its power and its determination. That heritage lives in the new Yukon Denali. A luxury SUV with a 255 horsepower V8. It meets the demands of professionals and the standards of history. The Yukon Denali by GMC.
Frequent heartburn. Is it worse at night, especially after dinner? Have you treated it, but still suffer on 2 or more days a week? Has your heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor about Prilosec. Just 1 capsule daily can provide 24-hour complete heartburn relief. 24 hours. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Want 24-hour heartburn relief with 1 daily dose? Ask your doctor about the 24-hour complete heartburn relief of Prilosec.
The century on Friday, week 2. At the end of last week, we said our aim in this final year of this amazing century is to live again, as best we can, some of the great moments and visit again with some of the century's unusual people. This week, what with the trial in the Senate, the trial of the century, some people insist on calling it, we got to thinking of other trials. The Nuremberg trials of the Nazi leaders at the end of World War II. Guilty, guilty, guilty. In 1935, there was nothing bigger than Bruno Hauptmann's trial for the kidnapping and murder of Charles Lindbergh's baby. Guilty. O.J. Simpson's trial was embraced by some as the trial of the century. There were many who disagreed. Not guilty. Which brings us to the first courtroom drama broadcast live across the nation from a small town in Tennessee.
Tonight, the monkey trial.
People would bring in trained chimpanzees dressed in suits and ties, and they'd lead them up and down the streets. And from that, Dayton got the name of Monkey Town.
For a few sweltering days in the summer of 1925, tiny Dayton, Tennessee had its trial of the century. Just how had man been created? By an omnipotent God, as the Bible declared, or through a process of evolution in which man shared a common ancestor with the ape?
Read Your Bible was everywhere in town, posted up on sidewalks, on the street, across the street, banners.
Charles Darwin had established his theory of evolution in the mid-1800s, and by the early days of this century, most American high school biology classes were teaching evolution without challenge. But the growth of the city and the tug of a faster, looser urban life had prompted a powerful backlash from traditionalists, and among them, preaching a literal interpretation of the Bible had gained favor. Soon, fundamentalism, the word itself was new in the 1920s, was producing popular fire and brimstone preachers, among them Aimee Semple McPherson and Billy Sunday.
We are a Christian nation. The compact and the Captain of the Mayflower was for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian religion. And
by and large, most of the people were fundamental Christians, and they believed that the Bible said so-and-so, that was it. Dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
All the folks in Tennessee are as faithful as can be.
When the Tennessee state legislature passed a law banning the teaching of evolution, the town fathers in Dayton saw an opportunity. They decided to challenge the law and force a trial which would attract national attention and tourists to their little town.
My father had a banner across the main street saying where it started with an arrow pointing to the store.
They put high school teacher John T. Scopes up to the task.
He was talked into it, I guess. He didn't teach biology. He was the substitute teacher.
Clarence Darrow, the Chicago lawyer, led Scopes' defense team. William Jennings Bryan, the 3-time Democratic candidate for president, handled the prosecution with oratorical flair. You believe in the age of rocks? He crowed, I believe in the rock of ages. The nation was riveted.
People who've never been to Tennessee, couldn't even find Tennessee, had to think about this question. Is Darwin right? Do we descend from monkeys?
The critical moment came when Darrow called Bryan himself to the stand and pressed him to defend the literal truth of the Bible. Bryan stumbled when he admitted that the text required some manner of interpretation. Some years later, Hollywood dramatized the moment.
then you interpret that the first day as recorded in the book of Genesis could have been a day of indeterminate length. I mean to state that it is not necessarily a 24-hour day.
In the end, young Scopes, who was never a crusader, was convicted. There was no denying that he'd broken the law. He was fined $100. But the trial was widely viewed as having been a defeat for the anti-evolutionists. In a courtroom, before the world, the creation story had paled next to the cold reason of science. William Jennings Bryan died a week later. Scopes left Tennessee and went on to become an eminent geologist. But the battle between fundamentalists and science continues to this day. In recent years, several southern state legislatures have considered bills ordering that evolution be introduced as theory, not fact, and that creationism be taught with it, side by side.
We'd like to share the experience with you, that of the Century. You can visit our internet site. Simply type in thecentury.com. We'd like to hear your story. We'll be back in a moment.
Let's break away, relax your mind, where twisting roads help you unwind. You're in control now, you're on a roll now, you're making whoopee.
Nothing puts you in complete control quite like the Agile DeVille.
You're really moving, it feels so soothing, you're making whoopee.
DeVille, for the time of your life.
Discover the fiber therapy that tastes so good people prefer it over Metamucil 2-to-1. Discover Citracel, the only fiber powder that won't produce excess gas. Citracel, no excess gas and better taste too.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because he has his mother's eyes. Because I still have to teach him to whistle. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm injured, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Did I mention he has his mother's eyes? Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Introducing the new Nicotrol inhaler. Now available by prescription. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. For more information, visit our website or call 1-800-INHALER.
On 2020 Tonight, millions of males have this operation each year, and they aren't even given a choice.
Who are we to say that Mother Nature made a mistake?
Medical necessity or barbaric custom.
We don't do our part.
2020 Tonight.
It's been another important day in Washington. Republican managers in the president's impeachment trial arguing that even accepting the president's narrow definition of sex, Mr. Clinton still committed perjury by denying to a grand jury that he had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. The managers are arguing that the Senate should hear from witnesses, including Monica Lewinsky, and maybe even the president. You heard from the White House tonight the president wouldn't be interested. That's our report on World News Tonight. Later on 2020, the man who sued the casinos for his addiction to gambling. And on Nightline, the Senate trial. I'm Peter Jennings. We'll be here for the weekend covering the trial. Hope you'll join us again on Monday. Good night from Washington.
Tomorrow, Mike Tyson, his first time back in the ring. But what are his chances? And with all that's happened, can he really make a comeback? Don't miss it on World News Tonight, Saturday. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCNews.com, now a part of the GO Network.
Sunday, Bobby's being judged in and out of court.
I had an erotic dream about you.
An all-new practice, ABC Sunday, 10/9 Central, right after 2020.
Old friends, new morning. Good Morning America, now with Diane Sawyer and Charlie Gibson.
Can you feel the chemistry?
Starting Monday, there's no better way to start your day.
Now, News 2 at 6. First, fast, accurate.
They are major procedural violations that allowed this escape to occur.
Tennessee's Corrections Department takes the heat for the escape of 6 maximum security inmates last month. Good evening, everyone. No equipment failed. It was human error all the way that led to an early morning escape from the Riverbend Correctional Facility.
Today, lawmakers put state officials on the hot seat to explain exactly how the December 27th escape occurred. News 2's Melissa Penry was there.
Bring back. Bring back.